All right, I'd like to call over the Beaver County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. We have review of work session discussion meeting minutes. And no issues at all. We'll move to department head report.
Contractor is going to be on Friday to let me know they'll be here either Monday or Tuesday to fix the places in the courtyard. The demolition of the boat bathhouse, we're in the process of that. The box has been brought in, so I will probably get out the window this week or next week.
Any, I know Wayne's here too. The landscaping for Bridgewater Crossings is due Monday, and the carpet and flooring for the courthouse Wednesday. Okay. All right. Do we think
a lot of interest? I think the vendors that showed up, they seem interested for the flooring. I haven't heard a word.
What was your take? A little bigger job than they thought when they came, huh?
Yeah.
Were you able to get the name of the Brady's Run the Hillside when they replanted? Were you able to get that information to some of the landscapers they were asking about it?
They're correct. I was mistaken. I thought that was a roll of product that went down. I was just talking to Frank about this. I thought it was something that they pulled out. They secured it to the ground, staked it to the ground. They had seed and everything in it. That's not the case.
Okay.
They know their business.
Okay. All right.
Constellation laydown area, have we resolved where those guys are going to go? Are we okay with that spot that they marked on the map and the park is there?
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
I don't think we have any
Yeah,
alternatives.
the only
So,
concern I said that might be the red area. That's not permitted parking. That's first come, first serve, I do believe, right?
The red area?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe the 4 spots along the building are permit.
Okay. 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 And then where the judges park, they said that they would be able to give enough notice prior to it, like a day or two notice, correct? Okay.
and does the farmers market know that? Because they go right up through Thanksgiving. That's a huge, I'm not sure.
There's something we could do, maybe reach out to Mr. Betters to see if possibly the farmer's market could go on to that grass area for the last couple weeks. And
I think you'd also, there might be the ability to shift it further down,
further on the other side, because that won't
over in the back corner.
We just need to sort that out before we go ahead and they start moving equipment in, and Saturday the farmers market come going. What the heck just happened? I do think Benner's may be amenable to that on a short-term basis, but
Yeah, especially this kind of
I even thought about that for the laydown. He's used to leasing his property for laydown.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can do that. And then if we are going to move forward with a little lay down in the parking lot area, maybe rope it off a couple days prior so the whoever parks back there knows, we don't want to do the morning of and people show up and have to go find out whose car it is. Any other department heads? Hearing none. We'll move to solicitor.
As most people are probably aware at this point, there was a lawsuit that was filed regarding the limitations on individuals and gatherings throughout the state. Previously, the governor had set those limitations at 250 for outdoor events and 25 for indoor events. There was a federal court case that overturned that last week. The governor has filed an appeal of that case, and while he filed the appeal, he asked for the order to be stayed, which means that the 250 and 25 person limits would be kept in place pending that appeal. That was denied by a judge yesterday, which means that at this point, there is not a 250 and 25 person limit for events in the county situation that applied specifically to the ice arena. And I know last week we had the conversation about what to do. The direction at that time was to try to allow the parents into the facility who had kids participating. And it looks like, at least for the foreseeable future, we're not going to have to follow the 25 person, 250 outdoor person limitation that was put in place by the governor until that appeal is heard on the appeals court case, which could take months. So I think at this point, we'll probably, I know based on what previously was in place, the limitation would be 50% of the occupancy of that building. We've had a hard time pinning down what exactly the occupancy limit is for the ice arena. But I think at this point, it's safe to say, at least for the foreseeable future, parents would still be allowed to enter the facility for the purposes of assisting with their kids who are practicing or watching their practice while they're in the stands, continuing the social distance and wearing masks.
Yeah, I think we can accommodate at least 50 parents in there with social distancing on the bleachers and wearing masks without any problem. But I can't imagine that the total capacity of that thing's got to be hundreds,
Yeah.
250.
And especially,
Probably for the whole facility, so.
they're not playing the games. It's one team at a time. So it's not two teams of parents. It just seems to be one.
Practices and scrimmages and stuff.
But we'll continue to work with the
Yeah, so-
recreation department, and get something in place that can allow some people to be there, and alleviate some of the concerns that came up last week from parents.
Well, technically it doesn't impact the barn bash, but I think we kind of have that under control.
Yeah, I think we're
Anyway, and that should be going forward. I know they announced the band that's gonna play the Wanderers and stuff, so. We'll see how that goes this weekend.
You have 20 resolutions on the list for tomorrow. Number 4, this is actually things that the 911 center did not have. This was been in place since the new building was put in place, which is why that number is at $258,000.
I didn't quite understand. So,
Yeah, so there were lines that we were getting bills for that we questioned, and then Verizon did a check and they determined, yes, you're paying for lines that you don't have. And that's been going on for over like 10 years. So I think it's about 2010. So that's why they're repaying us $258,000 for what they overbilled us. Number 5 is a program that's done through Highmark Blue Shield. It's retirees have the option, retirees of the county have the option to purchase the insurance at a discounted rate if they choose to do so. There's no cost to the county for this. It's just a benefit program that we've done for years. It's renewal of that. Number 9, we've done for a while too. This is an extension of the Allen Crest closing. The proposed buyers need a little bit more time to get government's approval. This is now pushed back the closing date, the end of the closing date, to December 21st of this year, with the hope that that does move forward. Number 10 and 11 are both planning issues. Number 10, Mr. West was in here last week talking about the Broadhead road study that's going to be done. And then number 11 is a reimbursement that we get from SPC regarding some work that the planning commission does. They get reimbursed for SPC for that. That's why number 11, it's around $29,000 that the county's getting this year for those reimbursements from SPC for the work that's done through the planning commission. Number 18 is just an update of our EAP program. What this is the number of employees. We're charged by the number of employees. This just means that our employee count was a little bit lower than what we had submitted. And then number 19 is for an agreement for the mats that you see throughout the courthouse. I will need an executive session to talk about a couple of negotiation matters.
Any questions for the solicitors? Hearing none, we'll move to the Board of Commissioners. Tony, CARES Act, I know Jack, I'm sure you are, our office is. Just an update on dispersal of the funds or, moving forward. You have,
We do have Brian Fisher from ZNA here today. He's finishing up reviewing the applications for the small business and nonprofit. For those companies who have not received PPP, he's looking to recommend a award amount to each business to you guys for final approval here in the next week or so. So it should be rolling out in the next, where we're distributing funds to small business and nonprofits in the next week or so.
A lot of anxious people out there.
Yeah, we've received many calls and emails about when this will happen. We're finally closing that up, and then along with municipalities, we'll have to make the determination on how to award them appropriately.
I just feel that there's been a lot of changes also with the mail-in voting stuff.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen, I don't see anything that we need to do differently than we're already planning.
have
Have you seen anything? I haven't talked to Doreen, but I know it allows for additional drop boxes and other things. I still think we've got things set up the right way,
Yeah,
securely.
I do believe that they are appealing it to the U.S. Supreme Court now. Can they do that? The decision on the post date. Accepting ballots.
3 days after, which
Is that who they would appeal it to? If the PA Supreme Court?
Yeah, there's a federal court case and there's a Pennsylvania court case. My understanding on this one, the federal court case waited to see what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court case was going to do. And if they didn't do anything, the federal case was going to get involved. Really, I think the only change from the county's perspective, based on what's transpired so far, is the 3 day after the fact. Right, so it has to be postmarked by November 3rd, but we have to wait 3 days to see if any postmarked absentee ballots or mail-in ballots come in, which would, in that situation, would be by November 6th. The drop boxes we didn't use in the primary, we weren't using now. And then the other issue dealt with poll watchers. So out of county coming into a county where they're not a registered voter, which we hadn't had that issue before. So at this point right now, like really the only effect is just the mail-in ballot. We'll have to wait the 3 days to count which ones are postmarked.
Yesterday morning, they ran the 900 test samples. Everything panned out good. They for the ballots, she called and gave the authorization to start printing the ballots. So they're going to be mailed out here probably within the next 2 weeks, week or two.
Yeah, I know I stopped down there yesterday and they were getting a lot of calls about where the ballots were at. So
And then also there has been a few emails on the election topic of multiple registration cards, people getting it in the mail. The return address is Beaver County Elections, 810 3rd Street, Beaver, PA. It is a glitch on the state's programming that they send. So if someone wants to register or switch their party to vote, people are getting multiple, and they're concerned why. Fortunately, it's not ballots; it's just a registration change or a new registration. So that was on the state end, and the state put an email out to all the election directors, acknowledging that it was a glitch on their end.
I think that's an important point. It doesn't mean people can vote more than once.
Yeah.
The system still has a check and balances that you only be able to vote once, but these multiple applications or multiple registration cards.
And the only other thing I know, last night in the news they were discussing was the security envelope. That's part of the lawsuit as well. If someone does not return their ballot in the secrecy envelope, can you count that as a vote?
it's right now,
It's
no.
no.
Yes.
No,
So they're trying to.
Well, the one thing that was
challenging that.
the one thing that's a little bit confusing is that you also can't scrutinize the name.
The name can't be, you can't identify the person whose ballot that is.
So what isn't clear though is if someone signs a blatantly wrong name, how do you handle that? We'll have to work our way through that. But we're as prepared as we can be. We know there's going to be issues that we're going to have to sort our way through. The election department obviously has been working day and night trying to sort through this stuff. And it's an extent right now, we're at the mercy of the courts to see how this stuff plays out before we get our marching orders and what actions we take whenever it comes time to the counting of the election, the ballots here in Beaver County.
But unfortunately, the courts have not the ability to even print the ballots because well, these disputes are we all know. Normally, we would have these things out there now, and people could have had them back probably by now. So, but looks like we're going to have one.
Yeah. She's.
All those issues, so.
Yesterday.
Yeah, just one other thing. I have been talking, as I mentioned to you briefly, the Conservation District and Push is still interested in doing a Maple Syrup Festival. I've assured both them and the Conservation District that, you know, our desire is for the Maple Syrup Festival to continue at part of Beaver County. And we're going to try and do everything we can to help make it successful. But there's a lot of issues that Push and the Conservation District are working through, not the least of which is the Conservation District has inventoried all of that equipment and would like to do an auction to start selling it off because they can use the funding for their operations. So I've kind of worked as a mediator between the two groups to figure out how we can make sure the Maple Syrup Festival comes off and Conservation District can continue on the way they want to with that. So there'll just be more discussion about that as we start to ramp up for that. They're looking at the last weekend of April tentatively as one. And hopefully we're over the COVID issues and some other things, and we're able to get back to a nice Maple Syrup Festival next year. So that's it.
Before we move to audience participation, other business. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
You have something? Okay. That's okay. Okay.
Provide engineering of a road. It's a little bit leery about some things we're going to have to look into. We'll also attempt to provide us a cost estimate as well.
That's putting a new road to the shelters rather than fixing the landslide. That's what he's gonna explore. Okay. Okay. Did you go through liquid fuels with that? Is that the engineer that you went through? Okay. All right. Before we move to other business and audience participation, not often at our public meetings do we get to report good news for Beaver County. So I have the honor on behalf of the board to report that yesterday the commissioners were notified through CCAP that our solicitor, Garen Fidelis, was selected as the CCAP Solicitor of the Year. So I think Garen probably didn't know that he was put up for it. So yeah. So we had our HR department and along with our office do this application process earlier this year. Garen began just 3 short years ago, and I'm sure he probably will say it feels like 10. In those short years, he's earned the respect of the Commonwealth as the top solicitor throughout 67 counties. So it's really a great thing that we have here in Beaver County. What most don't know about Garen, not only does he represent Beaver County, but he also represents a list of municipalities, schools, and authorities, just to name a few: Midland Water, Ambridge Water, Cannonsburg Water, Rochester Township Sewer, Rochester Township, Rochester School District, Beaver Borough, and Darlington Township are a few that he and his firm represent, and there are more to that. So not only is he showing how well and how good he does his job here for the county, he's not only doing this isn't his sole job, so he has a lot of other responsibilities. We appreciate his hard work and dedication throughout the county, whether it's dealing with the COVID-19 issues, our IRS filings, the 9 different CBAs, or just everyday operations throughout the courthouse. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, CCAP has canceled their annual awards ceremony, which usually takes place at their summer conference, and we've been here at Seven Springs in Western Pennsylvania this year. But at our October 8th meeting here at the courthouse, the Board of Commissioners will formally present Solicitor Fidelis the CCAP award for Solicitor of the Year, so that CCAP then in November can present that virtually throughout the Commonwealth to all of our colleagues and counterparts throughout the Commonwealth. So Garen, congratulations on a much earned and well-deserved award, and thank you for representing Beaver County.
Oh, I guess first I have to thank, I was presented a wonderful opportunity, and I was fortunate and blessed to be presented an opportunity, and be able to do something that I enjoy. But really, this is really more a testament to the people who I work with. You're only as strong as those who are around you. And I've been fortunate to work with great leadership, great people in the law department, great department heads, elected officials. So thank you. I don't know what I did to deserve it, except for just doing my job. But I appreciate it. Lucky to be able to be in a position to help the citizens of Beaver County. Well deserved.
We'll move to audience participation. Mr. Woolley?
I have a question, possibly have gone through it in the last 2 months when I've been, the county funding of the federal dollars from COVID, has that all been taken care of, but people applied and been granted the money and it's all gone?
The money has not gone out yet. We ran 2 different programs, small business nonprofits combined, and also municipalities. All those applications are submitted. We have a team from Zelenkowski Axelrod reviewing that, along with Corey Troutman at Susquehanna. They're ultimately going to recommend funding after they've reviewed everything. We're getting ready to roll that out here, hopefully in the next few weeks.
Is there something, it does not have a deadline?
We accepted applications for small business in a 2-week period that ended August 21st, and municipalities a 2-week period that ended the 28th of August.
Dispersed by December.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that counties across the Commonwealth on December 15th will be getting another additional CARES funding second phase for the monies that the state and other counties didn't use. So, we have a lot of applications, I think, that might not have been eligible due to receiving federal funds that we may be able to help out here in the long run. So we're hoping to be able to do more than one phase of this funding to our small businesses and nonprofits. Any other audience participation? Hearing none. Aaron, is there a reason to reconvene from executive session? All right, we will move into executive session and not reconvene. Thank you.